So Shalini is the head of the customer care center of Patriot Insurance, right? So she wants to understand how happy her customers are, how is the satisfaction, right? But she does not want to restrict herself to looking at the information that is within the company. She wants to, go social, understand what her customers are talking about in the social media, what her customers are talking about, what the news media is talking about her company as well, to identify if there are any systemic issues that she can then resolve within her organization, right? So let's see how Shalini does that using the Watson services, right? So we have the, can we start? Yep. So we have the business intelligence application that Shalini uses for doing this analysis of the social media as well as the news media about her company, right? For our example, we will use an actual insurance company because the Patriot Insurance is actually a fictional company name. So Shalini starts off by typing the company name, right? And then she would start the application will start the analysis. Oops, there's a typo there. Okay. So what the application does is it looks at the social media and news media information on this particular topic or this company, and then provides further information. Shalini is interested to look at information starting from May, so she changes the date range, and then starts looking at the sentiment information that the system provides. Right? She looks at there are 27% unhappy customers that she has, or 27% people talking negative about the company in the social media. So she wants to analyze that further, right? But also, she looks at the top sources of news and sees that Times of India has got 3 articles about a company, and most of them are in the negative sentiment. So she wants to, again, makes a mental note of analyzing those articles as well to find out if there is any systemic cause. The next thing that she can look in this application is various topics that are being discussed by her customers and by the news media, right? Every topic, it provides how frequently people are talking about that topic, what the sentiment of each of those topics are. So she can now focus on the topics which are having negative sentiments, and then also looks at the timeline of when people are talking about it, when they are talking positive about it versus when they are talking negative about it, right? So this actually gives her a better idea of what is causing dissatisfaction among her customers and take corrective actions. Traditionally, she would have probably referred to a random sample of a customer chat transcripts or any feedback that the customer provide in her website. But using this application, which actually uses multiple Watson APIs, she was able to quickly look at the publicly available information, including social media, and arrive at possible causes which might be causing negative feelings within her customers, right? And then she can quickly go and fix those problems, right? So let me slightly step back, right? As a developers, how can you build similar business intelligence application, right? The place to start with is Watson Developer Cloud. That's where you go for all the Watson APIs and services. So the Watson Developer Cloud actually lists down all the services that are currently available, which lets you, each service having pretty good documentation, including sample application, sample code in multiple programming languages. It also got a pretty robust developer community who are contributing code, who are helping other developers and sharing their experiences. Right? But what I'm going to focus on today is the starter kits. As I said, there are multiple Watson APIs which you can get started with, but there are a lot of values in combining these multiple Watson APIs and building an application which solves a business problem. What we have seen is a pattern evolving where there are these top use cases which a lot of developers are creating Watson applications for. So the business intelligence that Shalini used is one such example. We also have the other examples like conversation agent, the chatbot that Sridhar was talking about, and Shalini's organization can use this as a starter kit for building their own chatbot as an additional channel for the customers to interact. Or we also have this audio analysis which uses, which your company can use for analyzing their training videos and help the new joinees, provide better recommendation of training for the new joinees, right? So these are some of the best practices, best practice implementation of these use cases that we have implemented. And each of these starter kit also has the code available for you to start your Watson application with, and make it your own, tune it to your own use case, and then push it back to Bluemix, right? So there are multiple ways in which you can get started with the starter kit. My favorite one is the deploy to Bluemix button, right? That's a one-click button which actually creates the entire application in your Bluemix and also gets the code in your GitHub repository so that you can then make further changes based on your need and then enhance this application. So to get started, you log in into your Bluemix, right? I'm sure most of you have Bluemix IDs. If you don't have, there's a separate booth that's available where you can create the Bluemix ID in a few minutes, right? So once you provide your Bluemix information and your organization and space information, the deploy to Bluemix does multiple things. One is it creates the necessary application and services in the Bluemix. It then forks the code and creates your own GitHub repository where you can then start making changes. It also creates a DevOps pipeline, which, whenever you make a change, to pushing that change into Bluemix, including compilation and all this stuff. And then finally, it deploys that into your Bluemix so that your application is immediately available for you to start testing and then making any enhancements. So the starter kit applications actually are Node.js applications. So I'm sure many of you would have been familiar with Node.js. It also has a pretty good README for a starter kit. So the README talks about how to get started, how do you download the code if you want to make changes locally and then push it. It has got the necessary steps to download it, run the application locally, make changes, and then push your final product into the Bluemix. It also has the architectural pattern. This particular starter kit uses 3 Watson APIs. Well, the first one is the Alchemy Data News. This service aggregates news from various news sources, and you'll be able to query on a specific topic of interest, and it provides the relevant news articles for that. The Alchemy language actually does a lot of things around language processing. The ones that are used in this particular app is the ability to find the various concepts that are being talked about in the news articles as well as the social media, as well as the sentiment that is being displayed in those articles, right? The tone analyzer that Puru talked about is another such example that's used in this application, right? That in conjunction with the sentiment is where what is giving the score that you saw in the application, right? So this is pretty easy to get started with, and then you can make further enhancement as per your use case, right? So apart from these starter kits, we also have a gallery of applications, right? These are best practice applications that developers like you worldwide have built using various Watson APIs and then submitted to us. For example, this is election season in US, so there is a election insights application which looks at various news sources related to the election and provide more insights around what's happening in the US election, right? It uses the Alchemy Data News. The Celebrity Match application that Puru was using is actually another such gallery application, right? We also have an application for chatbot for providing suggestion for what's running in theaters near you, and based on your taste of movies, it suggests what kind of movies that you want to watch, right? Or it has got application for what kind of job position that you can apply for based on your personality, right? So there's a lot of interesting applications here. Now I have personally used this app gallery as an inspiration for whenever to build my own cognitive applications. And not just this, right? If you go to GitHub public site and look for Watson APIs, there are a lot of other examples, including Java, Python, and not just Node.js, which you can, again, use as a starting point for building your cognitive application. So I just want to repeat what Mike asked in the morning. Right? What are you going to build with Watson today? Thank you.